and kickstart into the Americas. We're going to begin in the bottom right corner with that blue Terran. He was the king of Latin America. Now this region is more merged with North America to be the Americas. Yeah, it's been a long day, mate. We're getting there. As our blue Terran player is SpeCial.
Yeah, that is a historical, brutal historic head-to-head. In the top left side of the Cranky Ducklings, we are looking at the main base of the Brazilian Zerg, who has been talk of the town, right? A lot of people talking about his openings. I feel like I've heard his name more this year than ever before. It is Erik. So yeah, they have played 31 series against each other, and the score is a 30-1 in favor of SpeCial. And the one time that Erik won was actually in a Exxon Cup, the Exxon
really?
Cup Open, in the year 2021. So I think you were just thinking of Chem defeating SpeCial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Erik had one time where he had like a really good run, and I think he got third, but maybe he must have took down. I think he took down Killer in the top 4. I think that's probably what I think.
No, I think you're spot on, because I do remember that happening as well, and that was the season that we all thought that Kalazur was going to be one to stop SpeCial.
Yep.
But no. I mean, we thought that many seasons, to be fair.
We thought, and we just, didn't happen. Until the very end.
Yeah, and then we're like, all right, that's enough of Latin America. Now we're going to throw them all together and create the Americas region. And I mean, summer was a lot of fun, so I'm really excited to see how it all played out. And the qualifiers, man, the close qualifiers, it was ultra late when I was watching those games, but we had some bangers in those. These two guys, well, Erik played in it, and Erik actually barely made it, because you kind of think of him as a household name in this region, and obviously he was in the Latin American only region, but ever since we combined the regions, you have to worry about the Mexicans, the Americans, the Canadians, and Erik actually only made it with a 3-2 victory over Reaper in the lower bracket, so was one map away from not making it into the tournament at all.
That is crazy, because to me, Erik's just an expectation at these events, right? Especially because, he was absolutely a guarantee in Latin America, but it goes to show you that, in the Americas, it's tough to make it in here. These guys, they really do duel it out for that chance to play in this event, and that's awesome for us to see, but obviously it means heartbreak for some, and it means some stressful evenings for others.
Yep. Juanito is always fun to watch, especially when there is a new map pool and a new patch. I feel like often in the first month we see some of his best work to begin with, and then eventually he becomes a bit more normal. What I always like about SpeCial is he's also willing to have some fun, right? He's just so confident in his own ability to have a run. And once playoffs come around, of course, it is head down, and he'll be as focused as possible. But I think in a Swiss group format like this, even if SpeCial would drop a best of 3, I don't think there's any need to panic just yet. This is definitely a Erik-like opening one, because I know we're kind of used to our standard macro-oriented openings where we can talk a little bit about player history and whatnot, but when it comes down to casting Erik, it may actually be worth talking about extractors going down and lair timings, because it's a 2-base, a 3-minute lair before he has used gas on anything else.
SpeCial is going to see it pretty much straight away, so he is going to know what's up. Lair-wise, at least, it's a Rotron and an Evo chamber out down on the low ground, so that's the tech that's going to accompany this lair. Unless any of that is a fake out, we are in fact just going to try and drop down like a super fast Spire or so. We will see very soon, as our Queen is firing up onto that Reaper, continue to push it around the back of this mineral lines, just keeping it at bay for a little bit. And the Reaper, very low, gonna hop down the low ground. Meanwhile, a couple of Hellions show up already, and this is the issue right now, is you don't really have any Lings or anything. These first Hellions already doing great. 5 kills,
5 drones. 5 drones for a single Hellion and a Reaper. And I gotta give kudos to SpeCial, by the way, because at first I was like, what are we doing with this Reaper? It's too early to hope to get some scout on the tech, but the Reaper basically kept Erik busy and forced Erik to at least at the bare minimum have 1 Queen, and that has opened the doors for these 2 Hellions. That's not even something we would normally address as an investment, but 200 minerals, 100 of it survived, killing 5 drones in total. Monstrous start for SpeCial.
Yep, really good way to begin things, and this other Hellion just stopping that drone from becoming a 3rd hatch as well. Now we've got a Viking coming around the right, so it can pick at some Overlords, maybe try and scout a bit further. Of course, SpeCial has seen everything. He's seen the Rotron, he's seen the Evo chamber, he knows about the lair. He really is just off to an absolutely stellar start in this game, number 1. As Erik, he's starting to make some Queen wandering forward. He's going to spread the creep with the Overlord, then get some creep tumors going very far forward. That might help him to accelerate attack down the line, but he's also adding on drones, while also just being supply blocked again, not having the greatest at times at all. as the Viking go on Overlord kill.
Yeah, that is a cute move, but I'm indeed more worried about the fact that SpeCial is going to have access on a decent amount of Marines soon. These Marines are going to have stim, and this is going to get painful. At least the Viking gets picked off, so Erik has one thing to get a bit hopeful of. And if you're SpeCial and you saw those roaches and creep in the center of the map, maybe that scares you a little bit, but it doesn't really seem that Juanito is all that scared, right? He hasn't even built a bunker in the natural. He is like, nope, I've got Marines, I've got quick access to stim. And I always thought, if you're a Terran player in this matchup and you feel that you are the superior player, I kind of think all you want to do is get your hands on 60 Marines and stim as quickly as possible. And you just take the game from there, right? Because those Marines will allow you to get some micro going, will allow you to stabilize, and the longer the game goes, if you are the superior player, that should always favor you. Because historically, this has just been a very difficult matchup to cause big upsets, unless you pull off something that has never been shown before.
Yeah, that's very true, as our combat shield is about to finish up here from SpeCial, by the way, so he's going to be full power, shoving through the middle of the map. And he's going up into roaches, which makes you feel like the roach should be fairly safe. There's a couple of infestors popping out as well. They will not have energy to fungal immediately. Let's kind of look at this. I feel like SpeCial has a chance to still get something done, because Erik's army supply is lacking. That infest actually does have the energy to fungal, so still me surprised. I forgot about the new patch, yeah?
It's okay. Nah, it happens. I mean, single fungal much needed though, because besides that, those fungals, we only had 6 roaches. And 6 roaches that honestly didn't give me a lot of confidence against all these Marines with stim and combat shield. And there's a decent amount of energy on these 2 medevacs. And now we've used one of our 2 fungals. I mean, Erik going for an ultra quick hive. It's all very cute. We're going to need one more fungal. But Erik doesn't want to use it too early, because he also knows that the rest of his army is just not that impressive. Earlier you mentioned a supply block or 2. Well, Erik is going to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore with 7 overlords on the production tab. And now we're also heading into 1-1 melee current base. So I guess this is just a very odd, funny way of getting into very quick ultras.
Yeah, no, I guess so, right? I mean, if you're going to go melee upgrades, hive this quickly, what else do you really do, right? The infestors and roaches probably try and buy you a little bit of time and keep you alive, and then boom, you hit ultras. Fungal growth here, I don't think we're going to get the corrosive bars to follow up though, which means it's another fungal used, and that's just the infestors back to regenerating energy. They'll have more energy shortly. Medevac's a little bit beat up. A Lurkaden! Okay, Roddy, I don't get it.
I mean, he had the Hydra then, so perhaps I should have seen that one coming, but I didn't really, because if we want to go Lurkers and we already open up with Roaches, why do we need the melee upgrade? I know that Link's speed is going to finish up, and yeah, I guess Links with Adrenal Glands, they will still benefit a bit from the melee, but if we also want to go Lurkers, wouldn't it have made just a little bit more sense to go for the missile attacks? But we'll see. We'll see if Erik can at least execute what he has in mind. It is all a little bit complicated, and we're definitely taking a weird route of getting where we want to get. Vipers on the production tab are now out, and that normally gives you some confidence for the Zerg, but it just feels that SpeCial is already all over Erik, and Erik is just scrambling, trying to get the right amount of units together.
Yeah, he really is. He's going to lose this left-hand side base. This was his 3rd, not his 4th. His 4th's on that right side, still building up, so the base goes down. The drop in the main base with SpeCial does not do so hot, but obviously filling the base is huge. We're going to take the fight as Erik, and Corrosive Biles will knock down.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. We need 3 Biles. Yeah, I mean, that's just something you got to get done. And we get there in the end, but obviously a bit late. Those tanks got so many extra shots off. They ain't going to do you any favors as Erik. That's not going to pull you out of this situation at all.
And there's another backup tank there all the way in the back. That's going to get a couple of big shots off as well. I think Erik could have maybe moved the final few units into the dead space of that tank. Now Liberators are going to siege up that new 3rd base of Erik after he lost the 9 o'clock base. He's now forced to get this one. We have that Hydra then. We've got 3 Hydras and 2 Queens. Not a whole lot of anti-air. I mean, I don't think we can really spin this any other way than utter and complete domination by Juanito here in game 1, right? Erik is trying to stabilize and trying to execute whatever the hell he wanted to go for. But look at the mini-map. Okay, that's a sweet fungal, by the way, on all those Marines near the new 3rd base. And a lot of Marines did go down there, but SpeCial is rich. Up 20 workers, up a base. It's supposed to be the other way around, and then we still have a game.
Yeah. That's actually very true. Yeah, and I mean, Lurkers are out, but to what great effect, right? They have adaptive talents. They don't even have their range upgrades. So they're not even going to be full strength Lurkers that we might expect to see. That doesn't exactly do you any favors at all as Ling, Ravager, Lurker, Infestor comes around the bottom. Gonna get a missile turret to begin with. A tank will try and siege up. The Ling's gonna jump forward. Everything else starts to come through. And the bio units will just stand and fight a little bit. The few Lings getting pushed back. Our Lurker's shooting through the gaps. And these Lings are gonna jump onto the armory here. I mean, the position is kind of cute. The fact that, you know, you get here is nice, but then you kind of need an actual army, and it's just not the right amount of stuff to really make the difference at all, unfortunately. Specials counter dropping at the same time, and this is just not really much of a competition, unfortunately.
Nope, complete domination by Juanito, who obviously realized as well with the amount of damage that he's done throughout the first 11 minutes of this game that if Erik sends that many units to the other side of the map, what could he really have at home? And the answer was, well, not a whole lot. A couple of roaches was simply not enough to deal with 2 medevacs full of bio. These Vipers, by the way, look very sad and confused when they're like, shall we use our energy? He's like, yeah, okay, we'll go for a tiny abduct in the end. But there is another blob of blue making its way towards the top left side on the minimap. A little SCV in the mix as well. I want to see that SCV get a couple of attacks off body. That would make me happy. Oh.
You know, some overlords going down. I mean, SpeCial just stims in the natural. Target fires down both Vipers as well, because why the heck not? And Erik is going to have Liberators on his right side base once more. He'll have a couple of Hydras to maybe help out with that. The Fungal lands on those units. The Medevac's just going to boost away. SpeCial is very much so in the mindset of, hey, I can just send my units and deal damage wherever I want. Fly the Medevacs out after and just, you know, replace more bio. And again, just go, go, go. He doesn't really need to make it any more technical than that. But the position that he's got is, I feel like we've seen this one before. Liberator re-sieging over here. The other Lib going to siege the main base, but there's even less to deal with it, and there's an even larger Terran army coming this time around.
Okay, these fights are obviously not really fights. I would love you to show us the tank in the bottom left side. Damn it, show us the tank. Okay. Go, return to the game, look at the tank. Oh, yeah, there was...
I got it. I got you.
This is just guarding a base, buddy.
It's
that
just
tank. It's the best job it ever had.
You're a tank. You're a tank.
All Juanito here in game 1. Erik is obviously a man who's got very clever openings, and every now and then he gets away with all of it, and then, yeah, it feels that he is way ahead of where you expect the Zerg to be, and then it's all cool, but yeah, if you lose, like 5 drones is already the amount of drones that if you lose it against a single heli, and if you have a 3-base setup, that we kind of address it, we're like, oh, okay, that's not pretty, that's a bit more than it's supposed to be. But if you're a 2-base Zerg, like as a 2-base opener, you can't lose a single drone pretty much, right? Because Zerg normally is to raise the benefits from having a high worker count and exploding and taking more bases. So if you're taking a different approach, well, that's fine. But then you really cannot lose any workers. And losing 5 drones that early, I kind of feel this threw all of the timings off and made it a close to impossible game for Erik.
Let's just get our players swapped around in positions in this lobby. And game 2 is going to start up. And you kind of feel as though Erik probably needs to find something a little bit more magical with his opening again, right? Which is what he usually is able to do. This time around he wasn't, and, you know, you really felt it. So, game number 2, the players are ready. We'll head on into this. Golden Aura going to be the map. Well, a fairly sizable one, fairly defendable set of 3 bases for sure. So, let's see what that gives us.
Yeah, curious to see what Erik has in mind here. I'm thinking, I think it's going to be somewhat similar to what we just saw on Site Delta. I think he could have gone for many bigger maps if he wanted that, right? You don't often see these 2 maps back to back in this matchup, unless the Zerg kind of welcomes it and embraces it. So perhaps Erik will just have the exact same idea. Maybe he'll change it up a little bit in the mid game, who knows? Had a very quick hive, unfortunately was in an unplayable spot. Let's hope we get off to a better start. In the bottom right side, representing the Cranky Ducklings, it is the Brazilian Zerg player that has inspired some of the finest Zergs in the world to copy his openings. This is Erik.
Taking on in the top left, our Blue Terran SpeCial. Currently teamless.
It's been teamless for a little while at this point, Juanito.
Yeah, left Storm and just never quite found a team to pick him up along the way. Which is usually surprising. Usually I feel like he finds a team pretty quickly.
Maybe he's getting older and he wants to make sure he makes the right choice. Doesn't just want to hop into his next adventure.
Really just weighing up all the options. Well, there is a pool first from Erik, by the way, so maybe something can come from that pool. Then gas, no hatchery just yet, so definitely potentially on the aggressive side of things right now.
And in the past, we've even seen him do crazy stuff like a proxy hatch. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. That drone screams a roach warren to me, right? Because that's kind of the only thing that really makes sense. The one-base bailing boss, I believe it was a thing in the very, very early days of Wings of Liberty, you know, where we didn't quite figure out how wall-offs work yet. And it's funny to think back sometimes of these very early days of Wings, because people played Brood War for all these years. And walling off was such a crucial part, I assume, of Brood War as well, that I'm kind of like, why did we struggle with one-base bailing boss in the very beginning? But that really was a thing. That's where our good friend Demu, Benjamin Baker, found all of his success in the early days. Just, you know, somehow figuring out how to build a bunker and holding the bailing boss of Dimaga, winning the tournament. We're like, oh my god, Ben is so smart. It's the last time we ever said that.
Yeah. The legendary days is this SCV scouts the roach roarings, so SpeCial says cool. I build a bunker, get the factory down, you build a cyclone pretty quickly here, I'd imagine. I mean, the scout is just huge because you can just adjust your build to make sure that you should be safe against this, and I don't really see what Erik does to kind of take an advantage off of this entire investment, which is not a cheap one, to go pool, then gas, and then throw a fast roach roaring down, actually invest into those roaches. I mean, this is not cheap in the slightest.
Yeah, this may be one of the scenarios where the old Cyclone was a little bit better, right, than the new Cyclone.
Yeah.
Because obviously the new Cyclone is so fragile and needs to get pretty close to units to get the lock-on going. So, I mean, I do trust SpeCial, but a lesser Terran would absolutely struggle with this kind of stuff. Because if you move your Cyclone a little bit too far forward, they die so quick. Oh, yeah. Obviously with the bunker, you can buy some extra time for yourself as well. And you kind of have like that safety point that you can always micro back towards. Reaper is going to be as annoying as possible, especially not pulling any SCVs early. That Reaper could maybe chase, but there's obviously still that Ravager in the mix, keeping the other units safe. We have to move the SCVs, and SpeCial does move the SCVs. First Cyclone almost out, and then we're going to dance. And then it's important that SpeCial doesn't make any mistakes with that Cyclone, because if you lose the first Cyclone, then it can get very dire quickly.
That's very true. As we're going to see Erik running by the bunk, that means he is going to be kind of pushed back here. This Cyclone, oh my god, didn't take another shot. But trapped by the SCVs initially, now will just die, but his units are kind of stuck in here anyway, so everything will go down, and SpeCial will be okay, Cyclone or no Cyclone.
Yeah. Shame for Erik. Felt that maybe there was a tiny bit of potential there, but he just went for it. Now SpeCial is going to drop the fusion core. 29 SCVs on the side of our Mexican Terran player against the 30 drones on the side of Erik. Erik just lost a couple because he was trying to get a few more gases up and running. Could even head into 2-base Spire, but if a BC teleport, it is two. No, wait, it's just a single star. For a second there, I was like, is that a second starport? Well, it is a second starport.
Otherwise, you can't build the fusion core.
Yeah, I was about to say, am I losing it? But I'm not losing it yet. I was hallucinating earlier today, but this one is the real. Can we ever deal with 2 battle cruisers if we don't scout it? Question mark?
No. I think off of this opening as well, you're down a hatchery, so you're down queen production, and you don't build a lot of queens because you've been so invested anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead and say you don't really have any of the things you would usually have, even if you did scout it. And now you're not going to scout either. I mean, there's a blind Spire because he just wants to go Spire anyway, but I actually think of 2 base in this kind of economy, I'm not sure it's going to be good enough to afford enough Corruptors to actually matter. Maybe
and
though.
If the 2 BCs jump on top of the Spire, I mean, BCs obviously take a long time, so I do think you'll always find yourself able to queue up a couple of Corruptors, but I don't think that Erik wanted to build Corruptors.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to create some chaos with Mutalisk. But yeah, there's no way you can have enough Mutas to deal with 2 BCs, because BCs are very tanky, have a lot of HP, and it just takes a couple of Mutas legitimately forever to actually take out a BC.
Yep, it really does. As Roaches come across, the Cyclone gets pushed away. And you have, again, like you say, those 2 BCs on the way out. Tech Lab, couple of SCVs all coming through. Got another command center dropping down from SpeCial in the main, so it's going to be 3 CC for us. And we just wait for... I mean, the thing is right now is, Erik, you just do not know still, right? So you can't just blindly build Corruptors. You're going to go Mutas, and then every Roach he makes right now is less gas for Mutas anyway.
Yeah, you think SpeCial always waits for BC number 2?
Yeah, I think so. If you're going to go 2 and it's like 30 seconds more, I think you always wait.
Yeah, and it's even less. So it is indeed going to be Mutalisk first, and I just don't think that 5 mutas, 6 mutas, and 2 queens is enough, right? The BCs have so much HP. They make their way through these mutas so quickly. Erik is about to get the bad news that this is not 1, but 2 battle cruises at a time. But SpeCial maybe a bit scared because he saw
the Spire.
Yeah, he saw the Spire and he doesn't want to jump in. Now he sees mutas though, so now I think you should still have the confidence to jump, but he doesn't want to.
No, he just wants the option to be able to jump back, but we kind of know that obviously is just being more cautious than you need to be. SpeCial is going to run headfirst into the mutas, which means he's going to put a bit of damage on one. Now he's going to jump, so maybe he just didn't quite notice the mutas before now. Now he's like, okay, it is mutas. They're over here. I'm just going to jump in and start dealing damage. So yeah, I think SpeCial just didn't realize himself what was going on. Has now a couple corrupt to start, but then there's going to be Yamato's ready.
The cool thing though is that we're actually rallying a lot of roaches and ravages to the other side of the map, and now maybe the fact that we jumped those BCs to the other side of the map could be painful as that tank goes down. There isn't really a whole lot on the ground to deal with all these roaches and ravages, so I do really love that call of Erik. The BCs are already right on top of everything they want to be on top of. The bunker is going to get mass repaired. One bunker I was going to say should fall and will fall. Yeah, it just seems that drones are dying way quicker than SCVs. And knowing that battlecruiser number 3 is done and number 4 is about to come out, I think it's safe to say that this one is all over. Juanito off to an excellent start here in the ESL Americas winter season. Kind of like we expected. I was hoping for a bit more drama, Wadi, a bit more back and forth. But Juanito too good in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I thought maybe Erik could kind of do a couple cool things. We actually have Yamato here. We just saved that BC just to give us a little bit of excitement as GG is called. And SpeCial will find the clean 2-0 to, as you say, just give us